Okay, we're going to start the underside evaluation of the 67 Pontiac Firebird. Rocker panels look amazingly good. Very solid. I don't see any holes. Obviously, they're full of crap. You can see it in there. And there's a nice broken off bolt for the bottom of the fender. Treat for later. Around here, again, rocker panel seems great. It doesn't look like a replacement panel. It looks original. So, pretty happy with that. That's the driver's side one. Passenger side, again, looks very good. You know, it's got a little surface rust around the holes that the trim molding mounts to. But again, it looks good, and it appears to have factory spot welds. So those have not been replaced. So that's good. Again, they'll have to be all flushed out and interior coated. But yeah, that's great. Frame section, yeah, I don't see any major defects in the frame section. There's a little ding right here in the bottom. Not too bad. Of course, the bushings are all shot to hell, but that doesn't matter. The torque box, a little crusty, but that's getting replaced. This frame rail is, yeah, it's not good. This one is bad. That needs to come out. So, but not as bad as this one. Now, the gentleman I bought this from noticed this and told me before I picked it up. But that's what made me realize right away this is looking at a whole new frame, trunk pan, and floor section arrangement. Back here, you can see that the floor plan was replaced at one point. Just kind of butt welded through there. Some seam sealer. Probably not a AAA restoration by any means. Rear section seems okay. The bottom valance, it looks fairly solid, but unfortunately, if I'm pulling all the other stuff out, that might as well come with it. Frame rail back here looks pretty decent. I do not see any kinks or bulges or any indication that this thing has been wrecked, which is, you know, given the fact that it's 50 some odd years old, that's pretty incredible. Frame rails look nice and straight. Somebody, of course, had the compensatory air shocks in it, but I gotta pull those right away so I can get this to sit level when it's on the floor. I've taken the time to level it up on the lift, and came up with that little arrangement just to make sure, so I can take some measurements to the floor and learn some more about that. What else? Yeah, tail section, lower valance. That's all going to be cut out. It's just shit. Now, you can see some nice little rust holes up through the floor pan there in the back of the seat. And of course, this box is rotted out. Now, I don't know. Let's see if I can get up in there. Back of that rocker panel looks amazingly good. I am really hoping that that is the truth. But when I get that torque box off there and the floor out of it, you might see more in behind there that can conceivably need to be patched. But I don't think it's that bad. It looks... I'm amazed, because these rocker panels are a cast iron bitch to pull out. So, yeah, overall, looking pretty good. Let's just got the steering box. drum brakes in the front. I am not going to be using this frame section. Once I get the new frame, this will be available, and I'll just advertise it, and somebody will be able to use that because it looks straight. Horns aren't bent. You can see somebody hooked onto the side of that one, but nothing. Doesn't look like this car has ever been hit. Now, one thing I did notice, and that baffles me, is right up here in the tunnel. Now, the front floor sections, you can see welds here, and you can see welds down here. So the front floor pan, foot pan I would call it, has been replaced on both sides. They didn't go under the seat bracket. They stopped there. And then it looks like back here, most of this is original, which is interesting. But it's too bad because if we didn't have to replace those frame rails, I'd have a harder decision about replacing this floor. But because those frame rails have to come out, I just can't envision myself trying to save all that crap underneath it. I think it's just going to be a better end product. We replace this floor and everything else. Now, the frame that I'm getting does not require these convertible braces under the floor. That is because the frame I'm getting is a full frame, going all the way back to the rear end with a Ford 9-inch and all of that. So it's another reason to just drop this out and replace the floor rather than try to hack all that up. Now, up front here, we got some mud wasps. Hi, guys. You're going to be leaving soon. You can still see some little pinholes through the floor up in here. Catch the light just right. But this is the part I can't really work out. It looks like maybe a section of that tunnel was replaced too, because they just beat the living tar out of that firewall to get it to go up in there. I can see no good reason to do that. Brutal. Butchers. But, not everybody is the same, and they do it their way, and that's fine. Another thing that blows my mind is this thing. Somebody just decided that thing needed to have the hell beat out of it and pushed in. Now, I can think of no good reason to do that. And you can quite tell it's intentional. I mean, those are all hammer blows. That is not accident damage. Somebody did that for a reason, and I don't get it. I don't know. What the hell do I know? This bottom fender mount's pretty tweaked. But again, I gotta say, the pieces that I was very hopeful were in good shape were the lower rockers, because on convertibles, those are a mission. You can skin them, but I don't think you ever get it as strong as the original one. So the original one, you have to replace them in whole, interior and exterior and internal and front and rear that crawls all the way up the door in the firewall side. So it's pretty extensive. So overall, I'm pretty happy with what I see right now. It's got a little baby sway bar in it. Isn't it cute? It's dainty. Anyway, yeah, all right, I'm gonna do some measurements, pick some points off the floor here, use my plumb bob. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that I can say for sure is I've looked at all of the frame alignment points, like this one up in here, this one here, should be one right back here. Yeah, right there. See it right on the front of the frame there? Yeah, right, this guy. And this guy. Now, none of those are all tweaked, bent to shit, or dragged out. That one's always looks like that. It's always all oblong in the rear. But, so this thing has never been on a frame jig. If it was on a frame jig being straightened, you'd know it, because those would be all stove to hell. So, the end of the day, it's as good as I had hoped. We'll take it from there. Okay, so I spent some time today, and I went through and leveled out the entire chassis on the lift. Of course, you know, the lift's not level, and you know, the little arms are, you know, these are out further than those. There's 100,000 things that can go wrong here. So what I did was I took some blocks and leveled the bottom of the rocker panels with a laser line to a laser point, got those all level, and then went around and checked all the body points to the floor, to the laser line, and it worked out really well. Looks very, very straight. Then I went through and took a plumb bob and plumb bobbed each one of the factory frame points to the floor. One thing that's confused me from what I've seen online is the factory GM sheets show you to the inside of the frame rail, not to the alignment pin. It shows you the inside of the frame rail under the shackle bolt. So the factory alignment sheets show you this point right here, right on this face in the center of that hole where the bushing goes through, not the hole here where you would obviously line it up with a jig. So I'm going to take all those measurements, tabulate them, put them on a drawing, and I'll publish them on the forums, just so everybody has them, because I struggled to find some of that. The other ones I struggled to find were nobody seemed to have any good information on where these back bolts were located for the frame. They're on the GM drawing, just no dimensions to them. And I understand those move around, there's some slop in those, and that's for good reason. One thing I did do that was kind of cool, that'd probably make somebody's life easier out there. So a lot of these frame or body alignment points are just holes. They're 5/8 holes. So I took a 5/8 expanding anchor bolt, drilled out a hole in it, put my string right up through it for the plumb bob, and then I just put it right up into the alignment holes in the frame right there, and quite happily hung my plumb bob from them, and it worked out great. There you go, put some light on that. So now I've documented all my points under the frame for both height and location in the XY axis, and I'll publish those, and this is the straightest one of these I've ever seen, so I figured this might be a good one to actually fully document to understand where those points should be. And granted, you know, these front frame sections move around a little bit, and you know, there's tolerances on everything obviously, but so far so good. My next step will be to drop the car down, re-level it at a much lower position, and then measure all the tub dimensions, so I have all that information too before I start removing panels. I also want to lift it from the rocker pinch points. I have the little rubber pinch point blocks that grab that pinch. I want to lift it from those points and see if it's any different in the tub dimensions. And I'm also going to set it on the floor on the wheels and see if there's any different in the tub dimensions. I've heard time and time again that you want to do this, you know, you want to take all your dimensions before you brace the tub. You want to do that in such a way that it mimics what it's going to see on the road. And I have no dispute with that. What I'm really wondering and curious about is, what is the difference between just lifting it from the spring shackle points in the frame rail like I have now, and what it would be like on the floor on the wheels? So this should give us a fairly definitive answer on a rig that's, you know, she's got her issues, but it's the rocker panels are just still amaze me. They're in very, very good shape. Bottom of these doors, look at that. These are like brand new. These doors have obviously been replaced. They're a different primer, but they are factory doors. They were on a factory car, you can tell that. So again, both sets of doors are looking pretty killer. Won't have to replace those, which is nice. They obviously need a little love because, you know, they've been around the block. They got some dings, but nothing that would warrant replacement. Probably straighter than a replacement panel anyway. So yeah, we'll continue the process. We'll start measuring the tub once we get it down and understand that fully. I want to try to understand that the windshield frame has not been tweaked or anything like that. I'm hoping to find some dimensions from the top of that frame back, but we'll get there. So that will be next.